This video is made for adult collectors because 2014, when this design debuted, was 10 years ago. I feel old.
Cause we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Yeah, we ran out of patience. Boil up with the cold hard hatred. I can feel the vibration. Feet in the streets, it's a new sensation.
So very quickly, I wanted to point something out. I'm recording footage from the film for the intro to this video, right? And I'm scrolling through the last night. I'm trying to find the part where Optimus becomes Nemesis Prime. And I want to point this out. In this shot here, you can see Revenge of the Fallen Megatron from a reused shot from Revenge of the Fallen, and I just want to show you. There he is. You see him? Hang on, let's go back a couple seconds. He's right there. He's just in the last night, for those who didn't know. I like Yolo Park products. Sure, there have been a couple I really don't like that much, but hey, they keep sending them, even though I say that sometimes, so thanks for being good sports. But Yolo Park figures are usually kits like this, who have the bare minimum in paint and feel like model kits and so on, but they're $30. They're really cheap. They go from that to these, the AMK Pro items with die-cast, nice paint, and they're like 50 some odd dollars, but they've all been G1 so far, so they have like little to no detail in comparison to some other movie products. Then there's Ape Link, who's weird, but that's pretty much the range of products and quality of products you're gonna get. You know basically what to expect when you buy from Yolo Park. So where the hell did this come from? This is like on a completely new level, and yet it still sits at that AMK Pro price range. How? This is Yolo Park's AMK Pro Last Night / Age of Extinction Optimus / Nemesis Prime, and goddamn, this thing is gorgeous. This was sent over by Yolo Park. They have a bunch of Transformer stuff on their site, like this, up for pre-order. You should be shipping relatively soon, actually. And if you use code TOYGUY, you'll save 5% off of most items. Some items are excluded, but you can check them out. Links in the description below for all the different Transformers 1, Rise of the Beast, movie stuff that they make. So thank you very much for sponsoring this video. Now back to the actual toy. This thing's level of detail is insane. The build was all right. There are some parts where fitting those bits together can be kind of but for the most part, it was like any of the other movie kits they've made. But again, that level of detail, it's nuts. The paint, the battle damage, the wash, the dark gunmetal, and the silver with the shiny ass blue and red flames. Like the chest detail on display, under the armor too. They even detailed underneath. You're not gonna see that. I love the little yellow highlights. Remember, I don't think a lot of people are gonna remember this, but do you remember when people saw the promo renders of this guy back in 2017, and people saw the yellow and thought he was gonna combine with Bumblebee in the film, forgetting that he had that yellow on him in Age of Extinction? That was really funny. But like, there is so much sculpted detail on display here. Nothing looks boring. Like you can get lost staring at this thing. It's like genuinely a beautiful figure. There you go. Especially for its price. The hell's figure? I can't speak English apparently. Even the back, nothing is left untouched by whomever sculpted and painted this thing. I don't know who that was, but I hope you see this, because goddamn, for $56, I don't know how you did this. I do still have some gripes with this figure. I know I've been very positive, but there are a couple things that still bother me, but they're small in the grand scheme of things. -1, which is the lack of purple eyes. Why? He has swappable eyes for the Nemesis version of the face, but they're still blue. Bruh. And I've got some stiff joints on my copy. Those are like my only real issues though. Oh, and one more thing. The hip skirt should be 2 separate pieces. It is just one. I don't know if you can split it. I haven't taken the crotch apart because that comes pre-assembled, but it is one piece. He does come with a buttload of stuff though. Sword of Judgment, Vector Shield, several adapters, several hands. I'll show them all when you get to like the posing segment. And this badass base. I do wish the adapter of the base was a bit easier to use, but it is a very nice display base. It's nicer than all the other AMK Pro figures so far. Like, it's a huge step up. But you can deck him out in all these accessories or have different scabbards, so you can mount just the sword on his back or the sword and shield on his back, or do the thing you see in one shot of Age of Extinction where the sword is mounted on the shield and he pulls it off on his arm. That's cool. And you get the Nemesis bits, the Bumblebee die blade, and the new face parts. And this is the head I'm going to be displaying mine with. Oh, and a mouth. He gets a mouth. Head sculpt's fantastic, by the way. I will say this, the alternate hands are a soft material and the paint on the inside of them does seem to just come off on my fingers, but everyone I know of who's gotten one of these so far hasn't mentioned that, and the rest of the toy's paint is completely fine. It's just like these closed hands. Now, this thing isn't just good looking, but also good at posing. Just here. So as you saw, this Optimus Prime has quite the amount of articulation, but there are a couple of little gripes that I have that I think I've mentioned earlier, like the stiff joints and all that, but there's like one instance of a piece falling off every once in a while, and that is this palm piece, which I'll probably just glue because like I thought it came off because it has to be swappable, but no, every hand already comes with one attached to it, so I'm just gonna glue that on. But start with the head is on a ball joint at the top and then a ball joint underneath the neck, though it is kind of stiff. Like it's just there to add a little bit extra articulation, but you do get quite a bit of head pivot, and he can look left and right about that far each way because the collar does get in the way. These shoulders, you can move the shoulder pads out, they're on a double hinge. They can do a full 360 degrees. The shoulder pads themselves can rotate, and that's because in the film, when he moves his arms out like that, they rotate to the back here, which I like the way that they've actually done that accurately. He does have a bicep swivel that is a little stiff on mine. Ah, there we go. I don't like this little piece here hanging off. It bumps into the bicep here, or the shoulder, sorry, and then prevents his arms from going inward unless you like finagle it. So I'm probably just gonna cut those off after this video because I just don't like them. And then you have a double jointed elbow and a posable elbow itself, which is kind of funny. You got wrist is on a ball joint, it can rotate. Now these are the articulated hands, and they have two fingers are joined each at the middle and then at the base. So you got that. The base, however, is all one solid piece, and then the two fingers at the top are separately articulated, and then you have a thumb that's on a ball joint. Now the torso, you do have an ab crunch, which crunches forward about that far. It can go back a tiny bit. It does do the whole like exposing detail when you rock it back and forth. He can also do side to side, which is great. Then you have a waist joint down here, and then a waist joint up here a little bit, so you can make it look a teeny bit more natural, which I think is very cool. The hip skirts are one solid piece, and then the hips can go forward that far, they can go back that far, and then they can go out that far, which is not a lot, but he does have drop down hips. So with the drop down hips, he can kick that far forward, and then he can kick that far back, and then you have quite a bit more outward range. And then he does have thigh rotation, though it is limited by the sculpt. However, you activate the drop down hips and you get quite a bit more thigh swivel range. You do have a double jointed knee that does the whole Gundam armor thing. Then the ankles, they can go down, they can go up. This piece can move out of the way to accommodate the ankles to go forward more. You do have rotation, though. These are really stiff on my copy and I'm not going to rotate them. You got ankle pivot and a toe bend. So you have quite the amount here on display. It's nuts how much this can do. Even with my little problems with like the upper body having some stiff areas, it is still super fun to mess with. I love this thing. There's also a swappable forearm piece if you don't want this port hanging out, but fortunately I don't care, so I don't use this swappable piece. Oh, and then the stance posing is this is just a bendy wire. So you have that, and then these clips here, these can rotate however which way you want. This is the direction I find it works the best, but you can, you know, figure it out yourself and mess with it. But you do get a bendy wire. Yes, I recommend this. It's all down to that price. It is $56 US. It's the same price as a leader class toy, and it looks and poses like a $200 DLX figure and has diecast in it. It's great. As someone who doesn't usually buy DLX figures because in Canada they are very expensive, this hits so hard for me. It's a manageable size that comes with a lot of stuff, looks as accurate as it can be, with a stand, and is a Bionicle style buildable action figure. 100% I think it's worth it. That's my look at Yolopark's AMK Pro Last Night / Age of Extinction Optimus / Nemesis Prime. Optimus Prime from the last 2 movies. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.